नमः शिवायेति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवप्रसीदेति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवात् परन्नेति शिवं प्रपद्ये शिवोऽहमस्मीति शिवं प्रपद्ये. In the previous satsanga, we saw about the Sharanagati Tattva, where Acharya says, regardless of which ashrama this person is, he might be a student, he might be a householder, he might be a vanaprastha, he might be a sannyasi, whoever this person is, if his heart has been offered to Bhagavan, if his heart has been offered to that Pashupati, then he will take care of his bhava bhara, the samsara sagara, which is so difficult to cross. And after a point in life, we just feel like we're crushed by the weight of our responsibilities. But Acharya says, if you offer your heart to Bhagavan, then he will carry that weight for you. Vahasi, he will literally carry it for you. Ramana Maharshi says, once you have entered the train, whether you keep the weight or your luggage on your head or you push it under the seat, ultimately it's the train that is going to carry it. So why are you breaking your head and carrying it on your shoulders and suffering, unnecessary suffering? Instead, just put it down and learn to be at ease. So we put all our responsibilities at the feet of Bhagavan, and through us, he will show us that he is the one who's doing everything. It is not that we are doing something. He will reveal to us how even all this while, when we were thinking we were doing all of these things, it was actually him acting through us, acting with us as an instrument. Then in the next shloka, Acharya says, Guhayam gehe va bahirapi vane vadrishikhare jale va vanho va vasatu vasate kim vada phalam sada yasyaivantah karanamapi shambho tava pade sthitam chedyogosau sacha paramayogi sacha sukhi. It doesn't matter if you live in a cave or if you live inside a house, outside a house, you live in a forest, you live at the top of the hill, you live inside water, you live amidst fire, you go live wherever you want. And Acharya says, Kim vada phalam? What is the point of all of this? We do so many things in order to attain happiness in life, and we do so many changes to our lives. We make so many adjustments to our life. We think, okay, maybe because the place I'm living in right now is not conducive, that is why I'm facing all these problems. Maybe if I shift to a more serene location, maybe if I shift to the countryside, or if I go settle down in another city, I will be happy. People who are in villages feel by shifting to a city, they will be happy. People who are in a city feel by shifting back to a village, they will be happy. One person wants to go live at the top of the mountain. One person wants to go live inside a cave. Then Acharya takes it one step further and says, Jaleva Vanhova, you go live underwater also. Or amidst fire, Vasatu Vasatesh Kim Vadapalam. What is the point of all of this? You stay wherever you want, it doesn't matter. Then what is the way to happiness? How do we be happy? Acharya says, Sada yasyevantah karanamapi shambho tavapade sthitam chet yogo sau sachaparama yogi sachasuki. If our antahkarana, our mind, our intellects, all of this is firmly seated on the feet of Parameshwara, it doesn't matter where the physical body is located. As long as our mind is completely focused on the feet of Parameshwara, then such a person will be a Parama Yogi and he will also be happy. Because ultimately in spiritual life, everything boils down to, can we be happy or not? That is what is the basis for every single action that we do in the world. Will this action give me happiness? Or all the complicated things that we do in life ultimately boils down to, can this make me happy? And because we are deluded into thinking that something will make me happy, that is why we're doing everything. Any pursuit of ours, if someone tells us that this, I can tell you with 100% certainty that it will not give you happiness, then we would never do it. The reason we're chasing it is because we think it's going to give us happiness. But Acharya says, externally, whatever adjustments you make, wherever you run away, you cannot escape the fact that the problem lies within you. The problem is your own mind. Wherever you go, You cannot escape the mind. If the mind is not pure, even if you go to a temple, there is not going to be any peace. But if the mind is pure and it has been offered to the Lord, then wherever you are, you will be blissful. I remember this one incident. We had gone to Guruvayur for a Bhagavata Saptaham, and we had a very hectic schedule. So for 7 days, it's just from morning continuously Parayanam, Pravachanam, Satsangas, Nama Sankirtana. Then in between, we'll get some break during lunch, and again till evening, Satsangas would go on. Then we finish our japa, then keep everything ready for the next day. And by the time we have dinner, we are just so tired that we will just go sleep. Some of them still they would go for another round of darshan, or they would go watch the sea valley of Bhagavan. Like this, it's a packed schedule, and the tapas that is generated there, you can feel it when you live like that, where for a short period of time you just dedicate every second of your day to spiritual tapas. Then you can literally feel it. Then we've lived for 7 days like this, and it's time for us to go back home. And we reach the railway station. I think the train was supposed to depart at around 10 o'clock at night. We reached there conveniently, comfortably before departure at around 9 o'clock. And then we see for some time there is absolutely no train that is passing. It's a very busy station, Trishur. There is absolutely no train that is passing. If our train is not coming, that's a different story, but there is no train that is coming to the station at all. Then every time we check the app, the arrival time of the train is being moved by half an hour or sometimes by 40 minutes. Every time it's just going beyond the expected time. So then we went around, spoke to the station master, and found out that there has been some serious problem somewhere um, down the line. And because of that, until that is resolved, no trains can pass through that route. And our train is somewhere at the back of this queue. So multiple trains have to pass through that. First, the issue has to be resolved. Multiple trains have to pass through this, and only after this, our train will come. And we don't know how many hours this is going to take. And naturally, immediately we all got a little irritated because we are already tired, we are sleepy. We thought once we get into the train and sleep, we'll get our good rest, but that is gone. Then we thought, for 7 days we have done Bhagavata Shravanam, for 7 days we have listened to Bhagavad Katha, to Vedanta, and all of these high truths. If a small inconvenience like this disturbs us, then what is the point of all the Shravana that we did? If after all the Vedanta that we have listened to, a little inconvenience, a minor inconvenience causes us to lose our peace of minds, then we have not learned anything. So we decided we'll make the best of the situation. The old people, whoever weren't finding it very convenient, we made them sit in a waiting room so that they won't have to sit on the platform with us. And all of us sat together in a round. We started having discussions on Vedanta. There was a satsang right there, and eventually we started playing Antakshari, where if one person recites one shloka, when I say Antakshari, it's not with Bollywood songs, it is the same concept with its shlokas. So I recite one shloka, you will have to take the last letter of that shloka and start a new shloka which has that particular letter as its first letter. So this went on for so long that we completely lost track of time. And once trains started arriving, we actually thought, oh, not bad. The problem was resolved a lot earlier than we thought. Only then we looked at the time, it was somewhere around 2 a.m. So we have been sitting on a railway platform for almost 4 hours in that Kerala heat, and we have been happily rejoicing because we were completely absorbed in that. The same presence of Bhagavan that we felt in the temple during the Saptaham, we could feel it there. Because Bhagavan is there everywhere. The mind is also there everywhere. It's only a question of, is the mind offered to Bhagavan? Has the mind been offered to Bhagavan? Because if that has happened, it doesn't matter if it's a temple or a railway platform, you can be happy. The Upanishad says, Isha Vasya Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagate Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitaha Magridaha Kasyasvidhanam. The entire world is just covered by the Lord. Everything is Bhagavan. And Acharya in the Bhashyam, he says, who is this Bhagavan? It is your own self. That truth which shines within your heart and expresses itself as I, it is the same truth that is permeating this entire universe. Isha Vasya Sarvam. That Ishvara, who is the controller of this world, he is the inner self of all beings. He governs everything while being their innermost essence. So Bhagavan, you don't have to look for him outside. You look within, he is present in your heart as your own self, as your Atma. And once you know this, what do you do? You cover the entire world with this knowledge. Everything that you see, you recognize the truth within. There's a very beautiful talk by Swami Vivekananda on the Isha Vasya Upanishad. I'm just reading that out. He teaches us how to see Bhagavan everywhere. He says, we read at the commencement of one of the oldest of the Upanishads, whatever exists in this universe is to be covered with the Lord. We have to cover everything with the Lord Himself, not by a false sort of optimism, not by blinding our eyes to the evil, but by really seeing God in everything. Thus, we have to give up the world. And when the world is given up, what remains? God. What does this mean? You can have your wife. It does not mean that you are to abandon her, but that you are to see God in the wife. Give up your children. What does that mean? To turn them out of doors as some human brutes do in every country? Certainly not. That is diabolism. That is not religion. But see God in your children. So, in everything, in life and in death, in happiness and in misery, the Lord is equally present. The whole world is full of the Lord. Open your eyes and see Him. This is what Vedanta teaches. So, once you get this kind of jnana drishti, it is only through that jnana chakshus that you can see this. Everything that we see with our eyes, we just see names and forms. We see a person as a woman, we see a person as a man, we see one person as a child, one person as an old person. All of this because we are perceiving them. We're not really seeing them. And seeing in Vedanta speaks about seeing them through the lens of this jnana, seeing them through the understanding, through the wisdom that they are not separate from God. It is the same God that is appearing in all these names and forms. So once you have this knowledge, then wherever you go, you're happy. Because wherever you go, whatever you see, like Swami Vivekananda said, not by blinding our eyes. When we say always be established in Bhagavan, it doesn't necessarily mean wherever you go, you see something, close your eyes immediately and start thinking about Bhagavan. That is also not a bad approach. If that is what works for you, perfectly fine. But the real test is, are you able to open your eyes and amidst all the multiplicity that you see, amidst all the variety that you see, can you see that one divine consciousness? Can you see that underlying divinity? And if you can, Acharya says, such a parama yogi, such a sukhi. That person is a parama yogi, that person is a sukhi, a person who has achieved happiness in life. Because once you recognize everything as God, every single thought in your mind, you realize that is also about God. The thoughts that we have in our minds are based on all the sensory inputs that we are getting. And once we realize that all of the sensory input, all of these names and forms are nothing but God and God Himself, then our mind is always constantly offered to the Lord. Everything that we do, action that we do, is an archana, is an offering of a flower at the feet of the Lord. Every thought that we have in our mind, once we can see everything with this Divya Drishti, everything becomes an offering to the Lord, and our life gets transformed, our mind gets transformed, and we attain peace. We'll continue this in the next satsang. Shiva Shiva.